Hi students, once again I welcome you all to my online video classes. As you know students, we started the discussion on solving model papers with respect to the reduced syllabus in second PUC chemistry for the second PUC annual examination 2020-21. We already discussed two model papers on reduced syllabus. Now let us see the first video on model paper 3. Look at the part A of the question paper, part A of the model paper 3. In part A, you are supposed to answer all the 10 questions. Each question carries 1 mark. First question is from solutions chapter. Question number 1 and question number 2 will be from chapter solutions. Here it is, what is reverse osmosis? First question is, what is reverse osmosis? Reverse osmosis is a process of movement of solvent molecules from solution to the solvent through semi-permeable membrane. When the pressure greater than osmotic pressure is applied on the solution, the process is called reverse osmosis. And this reverse osmosis is used to bring about desalination of seawater. Reverse osmosis is used to bring about desalination of seawater, that is removal of salt from seawater can be brought about by the process called reverse osmosis, so that you can convert seawater into drinking water. That is one of the applications of reverse osmosis. Let me repeat. The process of movement of solvent molecules from solution to the solvent through semi-permeable membrane. When the pressure greater than the osmotic pressure is applied on the solution, the process is called reverse osmosis. Look at the second question. What is the boiling point of 1 liter of 1 mole sugar solution? And here in the question, you will be given kb of water. Yes. Molar elevation constant of water is 0.52 kelvins kg per mole. This is molar elevation constant by ebullioscopic constant. And boiling point of pure water is also given, that is 100 degrees Celsius. Boiling point of pure water is 100 degrees Celsius. When non-volatile solute is added to the water, boiling point of water is increased. What we call it as elevation in boiling point. Adalva? Look at the meaning of the kb here. Molar elevation constant. Increase in boiling point of solvent when 1 mole of solute is added to the 1 kg of solvent. That is what we call it as molar elevation constant. Molar elevation constant of water is 0.52. It means when 1 mole of non-volatile solute is added to the 1 kg of water, the boiling point of water is increased by 0.52 kelvins. Hagagi, the boiling point of resulting sugar solution is 100 degrees Celsius irutte pure water. Adara boiling point 0.52 ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 100.52 degrees Celsius. This is the boiling point of the sugar solution there. Yes. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, you can also solve this particular question by using your basic formula. Delta TB is equal to KB into molality anta. Already molality ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 1 molar ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ delta TB is equal to KB 0.52. ಹೌದಾ? You know delta TB there, that is boiling point of solution minus boiling point of pure water. ನಿಮಗೆ delta TB ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, that is 0.52. You are supposed to calculate boiling point of solution. TB naught is what we call it as boiling point of pure water, 100 degrees Celsius. Therefore, boiling point of solution is 100 plus 0.52, that is 100.52. That is degree Celsius. ಈ ಥರನಾದ್ರೆ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ 0.52 ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಎಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ when external opposite potential applied to the Daniell cell is less than 1.1 volts? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಫ್ Daniell cell is 1.1 volts ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. Just remember that the effect of external opposite potential on the Daniell cell. That is, if external opposite potential is less than 1.1 volts, there will be no change in the direction of flow of electrons. Electrons will flow from zinc to copper. Adu as usual irtade. If external opposite potential is greater than 1.1 volts, direction of electrons will be changed, that is from copper to zinc. Opposite agutte. If external opposite potential is equal to 1.10 volts, no flow of electrons. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಾನು ಕೇಳೋದು ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನ, when external opposite potential is less than 1.1 volts, electrons flow from zinc to copper. Electrons flow from zinc to copper. That is the answer for that particular. Yes, it is question. Question number 4 nodi. That is from reaction kinetics. One graph is given. On the basis of that, you are supposed to decide the order of reaction. Graph is plotted like this. Ln R versus time is a straight line with negative slope. Yes. It's a straight line with negative slope. Yes. And here intercept is ln R naught. Intercept is ln R naught. Slope is minus k. ಈ ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಅಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ that is, for the first order, K is equal to 1 by T ln of R naught divided by R. Idu gottalla nimge. Therefore, KT equals ln of R naught by R anta baribodu. Hauda? Cross multiply madidini. Age enagutte nodi. Log A by B is equal to what? Log A minus log B. ಅದನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, look at this, KT equals ln of R naught minus ln of R ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬೋದಾ? ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, on the basis of this I can say that ln R is equal to, ಇದು ಈಚೆ ತಗೊಂಬನ್ನಿ, minus KT plus ln R naught. This is of the type mx plus c. Y is ln R along y axis, m is slope, minus k is the slope, x is time along x axis, c is intercept, ln R naught. This is what we call it as this particular graph follows first order equation, rate equation or integrated rate equation. Howda? Because of that, this particular graph follows first order reaction. Yes. ಅದೇ ನೋಡಿ, R ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇದೇ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟು R ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಈ ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆವಾಗ ಇದು 0 ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ln R ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್, R ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ 0 ಆರ್ಡರ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ for 0 order reaction, KT is equal to what? R naught minus R alpha. This is for Zero order reaction. Therefore, R is equal to what? Is equal to minus KT plus R naught agate. Y is equal to mx plus c. Y is R. M is minus K. X is T. C is intercept or not. Intercept ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ R naught ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕು. Y axis ಅಲ್ಲಿ R ಇದ್ರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ T. X axis ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ವಿತ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಲೋಪ್ ಇಸ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಹೌದಾ, ಆಗ ಝೀರೋ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಅವರ್ ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕು. ಎಸ್, I'll see that. Question number 5. What kind of adsorption develops a multimolecular layer on adsorbent surface at high pressure? We have two types of adsorption, physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. In the case of physical adsorption, there is a weak van der Waals force of attraction between adsorbate and adsorbent. Whereas in chemical adsorption, there is a strong chemical bonds between adsorbate and adsorbent. Because of that, new surface compound is formed in the case of chemical adsorption, and that results in formation of unimolecular layer of adsorption in the case of chemical adsorption. Whereas in the case of physical adsorption, you will find multimolecular layer of adsorption, because in the physical adsorption the nature of surface during adsorption will not be changed. Nature of surface during adsorption will not be changed because there are weak van der Waals force of attraction between adsorbate and adsorbent. Even after the formation of first layer, van der Waals force of attractions will be extended beyond the first layer. Thereby, multimolecular layer of adsorption is possible. In the case of chemical adsorption, new surface compound will be formed. Once the adsorption of substance and the adsorbent takes place, the chemical nature of surface of adsorbent will be changed. Thereby, no further adsorption takes place. Because of that, chemical adsorption involves unimolecular layer of adsorption. Physical adsorption involves multimolecular layer of adsorption. Yes? See that the question number 5 there, that is physical adsorption. Question number 6 funny, that is from group 18 of P block elements. Name the noble gas which does not have NS2P6 configuration. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, noble gases are characterized by NS2NP6 configuration in their valence shell. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? Noble gases are characterized by NS2NP6 configuration in their valence shell, except helium, because helium has got 1s2 configuration. Helium doesn't have NS2NP6 configuration. It has got 1s2 configuration. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ the noble gas which doesn't have NS2NP6 configuration is helium. ನೀವು helium ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. 7ನೇ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೂಡ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ 18 ಇಂದ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ದ ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅವರೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 2xeF2 ಪ್ಲಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಲಿಸಿಸ್ 2H2O. ಈ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅವರೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಒಂದು ಗಮನಿಸಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ F2 is removed in the form of HF. 4 ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 4HF ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಆಗ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ is taken out in the form of O2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಉಳಿಯೋದೇನು? ಎಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ 2xe. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ or incomplete equation ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನೀವು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಎಸ್, so this is what we call it as question number 7. What is racemic mixture ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. This is question number 8 from the chapter haloalkanes and haloarenes. The equimolar mixture of two enantiomers The equimolar mixture of two enantiomers is called racemic mixture. A mixture of 50% D isomer and 50% L isomer. And that mixture is called racemic mixture. You know, racemic mixture is optically inactive because rotation due to one isomer is cancelled by rotation due to another isomer. It's an equimolar mixture of dextrorotatory and levorotatory substances. That is equimolar mixture of two enantiomers. You know, two enantiomers have got that is same magnitude of optical rotation but in opposite direction. Because of that, the mixture of two enantiomers is optically inactive, and it is and that racemic mixture is equimolar mixture of two enantiomers, right? Name the following reaction. Question number 9 from, yes, it is from aldehydes and ketones, right? RCN plus SnCl2, right? RCN plus SnCl2 plus HCl, right? That leads to, yes, it is RCH double bond NH followed by hydrolysis. That leads to what? Aldehyde. It's a preparation of aldehydes from nitriles. This is reduction, yes. Just add two nascent hydrogen atoms to RCN. Know that RCN is RC triple bond N. Here nascent hydrogen atoms add madre. Triple bond is converted to double bond. One hydrogen is connected to carbon, another is connected to nitrogen. This is imine. Upon hydrolysis, yes, that leads to the formation of aldehyde. This is Stephan reaction. Yes. Question number 10 nodi from biomolecules in the Bharatidu. Name the dipeptide formed when carboxyl group of glycine combines with amino group of alanine. Carboxyl group of glycine. Look at this. This is glycine. This is glycine. This is carboxyl group of glycine. Combines with amino group of alanine. Yes. Condensation involves removal of water. That leads to, yes, it is a dipeptide. Yes. That leads to dipeptide. Yes, this is NH, CH3, and of course COOH. This is C terminal, this is N terminal. While naming peptides, base name is obtained from amino acid in the C terminal. This is C terminal. Amino acid is alanine. That's the base name. Remaining will be substituents. Names of substituents end with YL. Agagi. Substituent is glycine. Agagi. It is glycyl substituent amino acid. Adikoskara. This is N terminal amino acid. This is C terminal amino acid. The base name of the peptide is obtained from amino acid at the C terminal. Amino acid at the C terminal is alanine ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು ಗ್ಲೈಸಿಲ್ ಅಲನಿನ್ ಅಂತ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಕಾರ್ಬಾಕ್ಸಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲನಿನ್ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಲೈಸಿನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಅಲನಿಲ್ ಗ್ಲೈಸಿನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಬಾಕ್ಸಿಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಲೈಸಿನ್ ಅಮೈನೋ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲನಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು ಎನ್ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್, ಇದು ಸಿ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್. ಸಿ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಇದೆ ಕಾರ್ಬಾಕ್ಸಿಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇಸ್ ಫ್ರೀ, ಎನ್ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೈನೋ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇಸ್ ಫ್ರೀ. ಬಯೋಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? That's about question number 10. Okay, na? From biomolecules. I'll come to the question number, yes, it is 11. Part B. In part B, each question carries 2 marks. You are supposed to answer 5 questions out of 8. Now, we'll see part B, question number 11 now. Yes? Part B, question number 11, nodi, solid state in the birth, right? 2 mark question. How many octahedral voids and tetrahedral voids are present in close packing of n number of particles. If n number of particles are involved in close packing, the number of tetrahedral voids will be 2n, number of octahedral voids will be n. Howda? If n number of particles are involved in close packing, there will be 2n number of tetrahedral voids and n number of octahedral voids. ಇದು ಕೂಡ ನಿಮಗೆ solid state ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಈಗ for example, FCC ಅಲ್ಲಿ 4 particles are involved in close packing. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ number of tetrahedral voids will be 2 into 4, that's equal to 8. Number of octahedral voids will be 4 itself. If there are 4 particles involved in close packing, there will be 8 tetrahedral voids and 4 octahedral voids. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Yes, that is question number 11. What is molar conductivity? You are supposed to give meaning of molar conductivity. How is it related to the conductivity of a solution whose concentration is C mole per meter cube? This is very important. Concentration term ಯಾವ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಬೇಕು. Yes, as far as molar conductivity is concerned, conductivity of ions produced by the dissociation of 1 mole of electrolyte in solution. Conductivity of ions produced by the dissociation of 1 mole of electrolyte in solution. That is molar conductivity. Yes. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಅದೇ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ molar conductivity ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it's the molar conductivity of solution at zero concentration. ಅಥವಾ it's a molar conductivity of solution at infinite dilution. ಅದು ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ molar conductivity ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ molar conductivity ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ I give that answer. Yes. What is the relationship between molar conductivity and yes, it is concentration in mole per meter cube ಅಂತಾಗ, you know this, that is lambda m is equal to kappa by C. This is the relationship between molar conductivity and conductivity when concentration is in mole per meter cube. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕು, kappa is in Simon per meter, concentration is in mole per meter cube. ಆಗ lambda m will be Simon meter square per mole. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್, lambda m is equal to kappa into 1000 divided by C. So molarity, ಇಲ್ಲಿ kappa is in Simon per centimeter, C is in mole per liter, lambda m is in Simon centimeter square per mole. ಇದು ಒಂದು ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇದೆ between molar conductivity and concentration in mole per liter. The molarity. ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, lambda m is equal to kappa divided by 1000 into C ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ kappa is in Simon per meter, concentration is in mole per liter, lambda m will be in Simon meter square per mole. ಈ ರೀತಿ 3 ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಏನ್ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅದರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ concentration in mole per meter cube ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ this is the answer. Yes. So this is what we call question number 12 from electrochemistry. I'll go to the question number 13 from reaction kinetics. The rate constant of a first order reaction is 6.93 into 10 to the power minus 3 per minute. Calculate the half life period ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ half life period is 0.693 divided by K. K is equal to, right, it is 6.93 into 10 to the power minus 3 per minute. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 0.693 divided by 6.93 into 10 to the power minus 3. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಜಸ್ಟ್ 10 to the minus ನ್ಯೂಮರೇಟರ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ 1000 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 1000 into 0.693 ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? 693 divided by 6.93, that's equal to 100 minutes ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Yes. So this is what we call it as the half-life period. Writing formula carries 1 mark. Substitution and final answer with correct answer, correct unit. Okay na? As I said, if correct unit of the final answer is not written, you are going to lose 1 mark, right? Look at the question number 14, that is from F-block elements. F-block elements in the question number 14. No? Yes. What is lanthanoid contraction? What is the cause for it? And the reasons for the lanthanoid contraction. The regular decrease in size of lanthanoid atom or ion with increase in atomic number is called lanthanoid contraction. That is, as atomic number increases, okay na? So for example, atomic size R anta tagondre, there is a regular decrease in atomic size of lanthanoid atom or ion with increase in atomic number, that is lanthanoid contraction. The main cause for the lanthanoid contraction is imperfect shielding of one electron by the another electron in the same subshell. Athwa it is due to the poor shielding effect of 4f electrons. When shielding effect is poor, the effect of nuclear charge dominates. Due to poor shielding effect, with increase in atomic number of protons increases, nuclear charge increases. As nuclear charge increases, the nuclear force of attraction between nucleus and outermost electron increases, thereby atomic size decreases, right? This is lanthanoid contraction. Yes. Question number 15 from haloalkanes and haloarenes chapter. What is the major product obtained when propene reacts with HI? Right equation. Look at this. Propene, alkene with 3 carbon atoms. This is propene. Yes. When it reacts with HI, addition of hydrogen iodide to the unsymmetrical alkene. According to Markovnikov's rule, during addition of unsymmetrical reagent to the unsymmetrical alkene, negative part of the adding molecule will be attached to the carbon atom of double bond carrying least number of hydrogens. Hagagi, in the HI, negative part is I minus, positive part is H plus. Hagagi, look at the double bonded carbon atoms. I minus CH connect ಆದರೆ H plus CH2 connect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, because addition of HI takes place across the double bond. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ CH3 CHI, that is CH. This is 2-iodopropane. This is 2-iodopropane. Yes, that is. ಎರಡು ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 16 ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದು ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್ಸ್, ಫಿನಾಲ್ಸ್, ಈಥರ್ಸ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇಂದ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ರೈಟ್ ದ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್, ದೆನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಷನ್. ಎಸ್, ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 16. Look at that. One branch ether is given. Yes, this is branch ether. Yes, HI reacts with that is tertiary butyl methyl ether. Yes, and the second is 2 times CH3 CH2OH at about 413 kelvins in presence of excess alcohol. Idu, and of course in presence of sulfuric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid. Idu innondu prashne. ಇವನ್ನ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನೋಡಿ. ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಈಥರ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ಈಥರ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ I minus will be attached to the tertiary carbocation that is produced by this particular ether easily. ಈ ಈಥರ್ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಟರ್ಷರಿ ಕಾರ್ಬೋಕ್ಯಾಟನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ I minus will be attached to the tertiary carbocation, that is, and you are going to get tertiary butyl iodide plus H plus will be attached to O minus, and you are going to get CH3OH. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಹೀಗಿದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಅಲ್ಕೈಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್, ಇದು ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಅಲ್ಕೈಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟರ್ಷರಿ ಅಲ್ಕೈಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಥೈಲ್ ಅಲ್ಕೈಲ್ ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಅಲ್ಕೈಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಂಥ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ I minus will be attached to the tertiary carbocation. Here it involves formation of carbocation. It proceeds through SN1 mechanism. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, both are alkyl group, primary alkyl groups. In this case, I minus will be attached to the smaller alkyl group. I minus will be attached to the smaller alkyl group. ಯಾವುದು CH3. ಆಗ ನಿಮಗೆ CH3 I ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ CH3 CS2OH ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇದು ಎಸೆಂಟ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್. ಇವೆರಡು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನಿಸ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಇದನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ I minus ಅನ್ನ ಟರ್ಷರಿ ಆಲ್ಕಹಾಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ರೆಡಿಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಸ್ ಟರ್ಷರಿ ಕಾರ್ಬೋಕ್ಯಾಟನ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ SN1 ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾರ್ಬೋಕ್ಯಾಟನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. ಎಸ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಈಗ excess ethyl alcohol reacts with sulfuric acid. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ sulfuric acid is dehydrating agent at 140 degrees Celsius ಅಥವಾ 413 ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ಸ್. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, CS2OH CS3CS2OH ಅನ್ನ C2H5OH ಅಂತ ಬರೀತೀನಿ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ C2H5OH, 2 molecules of ethyl alcohol in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid at about 413 kelvins. Dehydration takes place between the molecules. That leads to C2H5O, C2H5 diethyl ether plus H2O. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 443 ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಈಥೀನ್. ಈ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು, ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಥನಾಲ್ ಟು ಈಥೀನ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ತರ. ಅವಾಗ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 443 ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 413 ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಸ್ ಇಥೈಲ್ ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಆಗ ಡೈಇಥೈಲ್ ಈಥರ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್. ಎಸ್, ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ ಇದು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಎಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ. ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 17. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ರೀಮರ್-ಟೈಮಂಡ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ. Reamer-Tymon reaction is one of the properties of phenol. When phenol reacts with chloroform in presence of sodium hydroxide, you are going to get a product which upon hydrolysis gives salicylaldehyde, the 2-hydroxy benzaldehyde, and that reaction is called Reamer-Tymon reaction. Look at this. So write the equation. This is phenol, right? Chloroform. I write chloroform like this: ClCHCl2 ಅಥವಾ CHCl3 is chloroform alva, in presence of sodium hydroxide. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, sodium hydroxide reacts with phenol, acid, weak acid. You are going to get a salt, sodium phenate. Yes, ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನು ಬರ್ತದೆ, sodium phenate ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು H ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ look at this, ಈ ರೀತಿ HCl ರಿಮೂವ್ ಆದ್ರೆ we're going to get CHCl2 ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಸ್, and it reacts with sodium hydroxide in the reaction system. Reaction system ಅಲ್ಲಿ sodium hydroxide ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 2 chlorine atoms are replaced by 2 OH groups. Then you are going to get ONA, CHOH twice. 2 chlorine atoms are replaced by 2 OH groups. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, if 2 OH groups are attached to the same carbon, the molecule becomes unstable. It gets the stability by losing water. Yes, it loses water. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ವಾಟರ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಉಳಿಯೋದೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, you are going to get aldehyde group ಉಳಿತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ವಾಟರ್ ತೆಗೆದು H2O ಹೋದ್ರೆ O ಮಾತ್ರ ಉಳಿತದೆ, CHO ಮಾತ್ರ ಉಳಿತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ aldehyde group ಮಾತ್ರ ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ. This upon hydrolysis ಆದರೆ you are going to get ONA becomes OH and it is CHO. We call it as salicylaldehyde. This is phenol, this is chloroform. So this is what we call it as Reamer-Tymon reaction. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ? This is Reamer-Tymon reaction. 2 marks. Question number 18 ನೋಡಿ, from amines chapter. Explain the trend in the basic strength of methylamine, dimethylamine, trimethylamine in gas phase. Now in gas phase, basic strength of amines will be decided by only one factor, that is inductive effect. As inductive effect increases, basic strength increases. You know this, as far as basic strength is concerned, look at this. This is methylamine. it is weaker than dimethylamine. This is weaker than trimethylamine. Howda? Here it has got one CS3 group, here it has got two CS3 groups, here we have three CS3 groups. This is the trend. ಈ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ 1 mark ಸಿಗುತ್ತಾ? ರೀಸನ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. As plus I effect increases, basic strength increases in gas phase. Here the plus I effect is due to one methyl group, your plus I effect is due to two methyl groups, your plus I effect is due to three methyl groups. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ plus I effect is very high here, therefore it is highly basic. Your plus I effect is due to one methyl group, plus I effect is less here, therefore it is weak base in gas phase. Okay na? So that is what we call it as the trend in basic strength. ಇದನ್ನು ಹೀಗೂ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. Trimethylamine is greater than dimethylamine, that is greater than methylamine. ಇದು ಕೂಡ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್. ಇದು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್, ಇದು ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಬರೀಬಹುದು ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಅಂದಾಗ. ಎಸ್, ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇದೇ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇದೇ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ರೀಸನ್ ಸೇಮ್. As plus I effect increases, basic strength of amines increases in gas phase. ಅದೇ aqueous solutions ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಬೇರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ aqueous solutions ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have different factors like inductive effect, hydration effect ಅಥವಾ solvation effect and steric factors ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. This is what we call it as part B of the question paper. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ? ರೈಟ್? ಈಗ ಬನ್ನಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಸಿ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬರೋಣ. ರೈಟ್? ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಚ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೀಸ್ 3 marks and you are supposed to answer 5 questions out of 8. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಈಗ ಬನ್ನಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 19 ಫ್ರಮ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ 15 ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಮೋನಿಯಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬಬಲ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಯುವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಬೈ ಓಸ್ಟ್ರೋಲ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಬಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ರೈಟ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಬೈ ಓಸ್ಟ್ರೋಲ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ನೀವು ಎರಡೂ ಬರೆದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಎರಡು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಥರ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಟಲಿಟಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಮೋನಿಯಾ, catalytic oxidation of ammonia gas into nitric oxide along with the formation of water. This is the first step. This catalytic oxidation is brought about by platinum rhodium gas. Platinum rhodium gas, at about 500 kelvins under 9 bar pressure. These are the conditions. ನೋಡಿ, ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ನಿಮಗೆ ರೈಟ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಬರೀ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬರೆದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ. ಈ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ 45, 46 ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 4, 5, 45, 4, 6, 46 ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ಎಸ್, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ first equation. Second step is the nitric oxide formed in the first step is oxidized easily to form nitrogen dioxide. Oxidation of nitric oxide to nitrogen dioxide. Balance ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 2NO ಅಂತ ಬರೀರಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2NO2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Equation is balanced. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, this nitrogen dioxide of the second step dissolves in water under suitable conditions to form nitric acid along with the formation of nitric oxide. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅನ್ನು ತುಂಬಾ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಿ ಬರೀತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ನ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ನ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ನನಗೀಗ H2 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 2HNO3 ಬಾಳ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಆಗ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ 3 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೋಡಿ 3 ಅಂತ ಬರೀತೀನಿ. ಎಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಈಗ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ನೋಡಿ. ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ 7 ಇದೆ, ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ 3 ಇದೆ, hydrogen 2 ಇದೆ. Equation is balanced. This nitric oxide produced in the third step will be utilized in the second step. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಂತ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ರೀಸೈಕಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ವಾಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಹೀಗೆ ನೀವು ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. It will be concentrated by distillation up to 68%. ನೈಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಪ್ ಟು 68% ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಬೈ ಡಿಸ್ಟಿಲೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ 68% nitric acid, further concentration of nitric acid is not possible by distillation because nitric acid forms azeotropic mixture with water at this particular composition. Because of that, 68% nitric acid is subjected to dehydration using concentrated sulfuric acid to get 98% nitric acid. Yes, that is. Question number 20 nodi. Group 16 in the ಬರ್ತದೆ. Yes. That is, how is ozonized oxygen prepared? How is ozonized oxygen prepared? 2 mark question. Explanation 1 mark. Equation 1 mark. Very simple. When oxygen gas, pure and dry oxygen gas is passed through silent electric discharge. A word ತುಂಬಾ important ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ. Silent electric discharge ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು because if silent electric discharge is not passed, the chemical reaction will be reversed. Thereby decomposition of ozone takes place. Hagagi, when silent electric discharge is passed through oxygen gas, you are going to get ozone gas. You are going to get ozone gas. Balance body 3O2 gives 2O3. And remember, this process is endothermic process. This process is endothermic process. Because of the endothermic nature of this reaction, we are supposed to pass silent electric discharge. Otherwise, decomposition of ozone into oxygen takes place. Because of that, you are supposed to pass silent electric discharge. Yes. Igavani. Arrange H2S, H2SE, hydrides of group 16 elements in the decreasing order of their thermal stability. Nodi, decreasing order of thermal stability. That is, thermal stability of oxygen is greater than thermal stability of hydrogen. Thermal stability of water is greater than thermal stability of hydrogen sulfide. Thermal stability of hydrogen sulfide is greater than thermal stability of H2SE, that is greater than H2TE, that is greater than H2PO. Yes. Reason ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. From oxygen to polonium ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Atomic size of group 16 element increases. ಹೌದಲ್ವೋ? If atomic size increases, bond length increases, right? If bond length increases, bond enthalpy decreases. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಾಂಡ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then energy required to break the bond decreases. ಹೌದಾ? Here bond length is more, energy required to break the bond is less. Because of that, this is highly unstable. Your bond length is very small. Energy required to break the bond is very, very high. Therefore, H2O is highly stable. From water to H2PO, thermal stability decreases, right? Number 21 is from group 17. Yes. Complete the following equations. Yes. ನಿಮಗೆ 3 equations ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಂದು MnO2 plus HCl, 4HCl. ಇದನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Second one is H2S plus Cl2. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು equation ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Third one 8NH3, yes, gas plus yes it is 3Cl2 ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Yes. ನೋಡಿ ಇದು MnO2 plus HCl ಅಲ್ವಾ? Your manganese oxide oxidizes hydrogen chloride to, yes it is chlorine gas, along with the formation of, yes it is MnCl2, right? Hydrogen is coming out in the form of water. ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. Yes. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಆಸ್ ಯೂಶುವಲ್ ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 2H2 ಅಂತ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು, ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಸ್ O2, yes, 2O, 4 hydrogens, 4 chlorine. Yes, this is the equation. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ, very simple. Chlorine oxidizes hydrogen sulfide into sulfur along with the formation of HCl. Excess ammonia, that is, reacts with chlorine to give, yes, ammonium chloride and, yes, it is nitrogen, yes. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ 6 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 6 ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಆಗ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ 8 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ 8 ಇದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ as ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ equation. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ as the completing the incomplete equations from group 17 there. Yes, ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ? So this is question number 21 from group 17. 22, 23 and 24 they are from D block elements. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ನೋಡಿ, 22 ಗಿವ್ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, 3 ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಸ್, Ti+4 salts are colorless whereas Cr3+ salts are colored. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, most of the transition metals have high melting and boiling points. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಸನ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಯನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಪರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನಲಿ ಹೈ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಸನ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. Whenever there is a question of colors, ಅದು ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, colored transition metal ions are characterized by unpaired electrons, and if unpaired electrons are absent, then that transition metal ion will be colorless. Ti+4, yes, this is Ti+4. You know its electronic configuration is argon 3d0, 4s0. No unpaired electrons in Ti+4, therefore it is colorless. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಷನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಅಯಾನ್ ಕಲರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಷನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಗೆ ಕಲರ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, Cr3+ ಅಲ್ಲಿ argon 3d3, 4s0. This is electronic configuration of Cr3+. 3d5, 4s1 ಅಲ್ವಾ? 3 ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ತೆಗಿರಿ, ಒಂದು 4s ಇಂದ ತೆಗಿರಿ, 2 3d ಇಂದ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ 3d3 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ, 3d3 has got 3 unpaired electrons, ಹೌದಾ? 3d3 has got 3 unpaired electrons. Therefore, Cr3+ is colored due to the presence of unpaired electrons. Ti+4 is colorless due to the absence of unpaired electrons. Yes. Next ನೋಡಿ, most of the transition metals have, yes, it is high melting and boiling points. The melting point and boiling points of given solid depend upon interatomic force of attractions. In the case of transition metals, interatomic force of attractions will be metallic bondings. The strength of metallic bonding depends on number of valence electrons participating in bonding. Transition metal ions are characterized by more number of valence electrons. Howda? Because the electrons present in the 4s as well as 3d, the electrons present in ns subshell as well as n-1d subshell will be taken as valence electrons. And because of the participation of the valence electrons from n-1d subshell as well as from ns subshell, the strength of metallic bonding is more. Therefore, they are characterized by high melting and boiling point. Yes, and that is what we call it as reason for that, for the high melting and boiling points. Second ionization enthalpy of copper is exceptionally high. You just remember electronic configuration of copper, that is argon 3d10, 4s1. Howda? And copper is converted to copper plus by losing 4s electron. Enagutte? This is first ionization enthalpy, that is argon 3d10 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 4s ಇಂದ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಆದರೆ copper is converted to copper plus 2. Copper is converted to copper plus 1 is converted to copper 2 plus by losing one more electron. That is second ionization enthalpy. ಹೌದಾ? ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ. For the removal of second electron from 3D subshell, we need high energy because of extra stability of 3D subshell. Removal of second electron from 3D subshell requires high energy because of extra stability of completely filled 3D subshell. 3D10 ideyala, that is completely filled, that gains extra stability. Removal of a second electron from 3D requires very high energy due to the high stability with the 3D10 configuration. So because of that, second ionization enthalpy of that copper is exceptionally high. That is due to the stability of copper plus in 3D10 configuration, removal of second electron from 3D10 requires high energy. That is the answer. Question number 23 nodi. Transition metals show good catalytic property. Give two reasons. You know that transition metal ions and their compounds, they are very good catalysts. You are supposed to give the reason for that. 2 mark question. Among the following elements, identify the element which does not show variable oxidation state. ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೋಬಾಲ್ಟ್, ಜಿಂಕ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕ್ರೋಮಿಯಂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ which element doesn't show variable oxidation state ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನೋಡೋಣ. The reasons for the catalytic property of yes it is D block elements. You know, one of the reasons for the catalytic property of D block elements, you know, they are characterized by variable oxidation states. They have a tendency of exhibiting more than one oxidation states. That is one reason. Because of that, you know, due to the ability of exhibiting variable oxidation states, they are able to form unstable intermediate compounds. They are able to form unstable intermediate compounds. At the same time, transition elements and their compounds are characterized by large surface area. These are the 3 reasons for the catalytic property of, yes, it is D block elements. Which element doesn't show variable oxidation state ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ zinc ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. Because zinc is characterized by only one oxidation state, that is +2. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ as far as zinc is concerned, look at this, its configuration is 3D10 4s2 and it can lose 2 electrons present in 4s and thereby it is converted to Zn+2 with a 3D10 configuration. You know, removal of electron from 3D subshell is difficult because of high stability with completely filled 3D subshell, 3D10 configuration. Hagagi zinc exhibits only one oxidation state, that is +2. Zinc, mercury and cadmium, they exhibit only one oxidation state, that is +2, and that is why they do not exhibit variable oxidation states. If unpaired electrons are present in a given transition element and that element will exhibit, yes, it is what we call it as variable oxidation states. That is question number 23. ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಜಿಂಕ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಎಸ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬನ್ನಿ. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 24 ನೋಡಿ. ಎಸ್, what are heteroleptic complexes? What is coordination polyhedron? Write the IUPAC name of the ligand which is abbreviated as EN ಅಂತ. 3 ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇಂದ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು. ಗಮನಿಸಿ, ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇಂದ ನಿಮಗೆ 3 ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಈ ಸಾರಿ. ಎಸ್, ಓಕೆನಾ? What are heteroleptic complexes ಅಂದ್ರೆ the complexes which contain different types of ligands. The complexes which contain different types of ligands. Yes, it is heteroleptic complex. This is one example for the heteroleptic complex because this complex contains 2 different. If the complex is produced by, yes, it is, if the complex contains more than one different ligands, that complex is called heteroleptic complex. If the complex contains only one type of ligands, it will be homoleptic complex. That is, the complexes containing more than one kind of ligands are called heteroleptic complexes. This is 2 types of ligands irodrinda idu heteroleptic complex. Look at this platinum, NS3 twice Cl2. This is also heteroleptic complex. Look at this CO, En twice Cl2, and of course this is plus. This is also heteroleptic complex. Just observe, more than one kind of ligands are involved in complex formation. That's why they are all heteroleptic complexes. In the case of homoleptic complexes, look at this. This is homoleptic complex because it contains only one kind of ligand. ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬಾರ್ದು. ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ ಅದು ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಮೆಟಲ್, ಇದು ಲಿಗ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಬರೀ ಒನ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಿಗ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇದು ಹೋಮೋಲೆಪ್ಟಿಕ್. Look at this. Apart from that, you have OX thrice 3 minus OX oxalato. Only one type of ligand is that. This is also homoleptic complex. Like that, you can give, yes, it is different examples. What is coordination polyhedron? Coordination polyhedron refers to the geometry of the complexes, that is the spatial arrangement of ligands around the central metal ion in a given coordination compound is called coordination polyhedron. We have triangular, square pyramidal, trigonal, bipyramidal, octahedral, like that, square planar, like that. We have different types of coordination polyhedron. That depends on the coordination number. If the coordination number is 3, triangular planar. If the coordination number is 4, it may be tetrahedral, or yes, it is square planar. If the coordination number is 5, it may be square pyramidal or trigonal bipyramidal. If the coordination number is 6, coordination polyhedron is octahedral. What is the IUPAC name of a ligand which is abbreviated as EN? EN is ethylene diamine. This is ethylene diamine. ನಮಗೆ IUPAC ನೇಮ್ ಕೇಳಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ this is ethane 1,2 diamine. Ethane 1,2 diamine. This is what we call it as IUPAC name of a ligand with the abbreviation EN. What is the IUPAC name of a ligand with the abbreviation OX ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ oxalato. The IUPAC name of ligand with the abbreviation OX. ಈ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. This is what we call it as part C of this particular SAT's question paper. And here we have 3 more questions, 2 more questions from coordination compounds, and we'll up with SAT's part D there. Okay, na? So these things we'll see in the next video. Agudara, right? We'll see the remaining things in the next video. Matte helta idini. And you are going to get, you can download the PDF of this model paper 3. Okay, na? Along with the answers from the link provided in the description box of this particular video on model paper 3. ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋದ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಇವತ್ತೇನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮಾಡಲ್ ಪೇಪರ್ 3 ಅದರ PDF ಅನ್ನ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ? ಸೊ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ರೈಟ್.